My wife Melissa, 30F, and I, 32M, have been together for 12 years, married for 7. We met during our sophomore year of college at a mutual friend's party. I remember being instantly drawn to her vibrant personality and infectious laugh. I was always more of an introvert, preferring small gatherings to wild parties, but Melissa had a way of bringing me out of my shell. We started dating a few months after that party. It wasn't always smooth sailing. We had our fair share of arguments and misunderstandings, especially in those early years, but we always managed to work through our issues. I remember one particularly rough patch during our senior year when we almost broke up over different post-graduation plans. I had been offered a job in our college town, while Melissa wanted to move to the city. We spent weeks going back and forth, neither willing to compromise. In the end, we realized our relationship was more important than any job or location. I turned down the offer and we moved to the city together after graduation. Those first few years in the city were tough. We were both working entry-level jobs, living in a tiny studio apartment, and trying to figure out adulthood. Money was tight, and we often argued about finances. But we also had some of our best times during those years. We'd explore the city on weekends, finding hidden gem restaurants and quirky museums. We'd stay up late dreaming about our future, the house we'd buy, the kids we'd have, the travels we'd take. Melissa was always close with her mom, Karen. When Melissa was young, her dad traveled a lot for work, so it was often just her and Karen. They developed a tight bond that continued into Melissa's adulthood. Karen was always supportive of our relationship, even in the early days when my own parents were skeptical about us getting serious so young. 5 years ago, Melissa's parents went through a messy divorce. It turned out her dad had been having an affair with his secretary for years. Melissa was devastated. She had always looked up to her dad, and the revelation shook her to her core. She threw herself into supporting Karen, often spending hours on the phone with her or driving to visit her on weekends. The divorce took a toll on our relationship too. Melissa became more guarded, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. We went through a rough patch where she would accuse me of cheating anytime I worked late or went out with friends. It took months of reassurance, and even a few couples therapy sessions to work through it. Things started looking up about 2 years ago. We had both advanced in our careers, bought a small house in the suburbs, and were talking about trying for a baby. Karen had started dating again, which took some of the pressure off Melissa to be her primary support system. Karen met Tom online, and they hit it off immediately. After only 6 months of dating, they eloped. It was a huge shock to all of us, especially Melissa. She was worried Karen was rushing into things, still vulnerable from the divorce. But Tom seemed like a good guy, successful real estate developer, charming, treated Karen well. So we tried to be supportive. Tom has 2 kids from a previous marriage, a daughter around Melissa's age, and a son, Eric, 35M now, who's a few years older than us. Eric started coming around for family gatherings, and he and Melissa seemed to get along well. I thought it was nice. She was bonding with her new stepfamily. Eric and I even played golf a few times. He seemed like a decent guy, though a bit of a player. He was always talking about different women he was seeing. Over the past year, I noticed Melissa growing more distant. She was always on her phone, started going out more with friends I'd never met, and our sex life dwindled to almost nothing. When I tried to talk to her about it, she'd get defensive and say she was just stressed from work. I wanted to believe her, but something felt off. Last week, I borrowed Melissa's iPad to look up a recipe while she was in the shower. A message notification popped up from Eric that said, "Can't wait to see you later, babe. Wear that red lingerie I like." My stomach dropped. I know I shouldn't have, but I opened the messages and started scrolling. There were hundreds of sexually explicit texts and photos going back months. I confronted Melissa as soon as she got out of the shower. At first, she tried to deny it, but when I told her I saw the messages, she broke down crying. She admitted she's been sleeping with Eric for the past 6 months. Apparently, it started innocently. Eric asked her advice on dating apps, but things quickly turned flirtatious and then sexual. I'm completely gutted. Not only has Melissa been cheating, but with her stepbrother of all people. I can't even wrap my head around how messed up that is. I asked her to leave and go stay with a friend while I figure things out. I haven't told anyone in the family yet. I know it will destroy Karen when she finds out. I'm at a total loss for what to do now. Part of me still loves Melissa and wants to try to work things out. We've been through so much together, moving to the city with nothing, supporting each other through tough times at work, dealing with her parents' divorce. I keep thinking about all our dreams and plans. Just a few months ago, we were talking about names for our future kids. How did we go from that to this? But I don't know if I can ever trust her again after this level of betrayal. And the fact that it's with Eric makes it even worse. How could we ever have normal family gatherings again? Every time I close my eyes, I see the messages and pictures she sent him. It makes me physically sick. I'm considering telling Karen and Tom everything, but I'm worried about blowing up the whole family. Should I confront Eric? Try to save my marriage? Get a divorce? I feel like my whole world has been turned upside down and I don't know which way is up anymore. I keep replaying everything in my mind, wondering if there were signs I missed. Was she already seeing Eric when we went on that family vacation last summer? Was she thinking of him when we were trying to conceive a few months ago? The thought of it makes my skin crawl. I haven't been able to eat or sleep much since finding out. I've been calling in sick to work, which I know I can't keep doing. But I can't face anyone right now. I feel like my whole life has been a lie. Any advice would be appreciated. I never thought I'd be in this position, and I'm completely lost. Update 1. It's been about a month since my last post, and a lot has happened. First, I want to thank everyone for the supportive comments and advice. It really helped me get through some of the darkest days. After taking some time to process everything, I decided I needed to tell Karen and Tom the truth. I couldn't in good conscience keep this from them, especially knowing Melissa and Eric were likely still carrying on their affair. I invited Karen and Tom over for dinner, told Melissa not to come, and broke the news to them. To say they were shocked would be an understatement. Karen burst into tears and Tom just sat there in stunned silence. I showed them some of the messages as proof. Tom's initial reaction was denial. He accused me of making it all up to break up his marriage. But Karen believed me immediately. She said she had noticed Melissa and Eric seemed overly close lately, but she never imagined this. She was devastated not just by Eric's betrayal, but by Melissa's as well. Melissa was like a daughter to her, even before the marriage to Tom. After the initial shock wore off, Tom got angry. He stormed out saying he was going to confront Eric. Karen stayed, and we talked for hours. She apologized profusely, feeling guilty for bringing Tom and Eric into our lives. I assured her it wasn't her fault at all. Karen shared some things about her past that gave me a new perspective on the situation. Apparently, when she was in college, she had a brief affair with her roommate's boyfriend. She said the guilt ate her alive and she eventually confessed to her roommate, destroying their friendship. She told me that experience is part of why she and Melissa's dad lasted as long as they did. She was so determined not to be that person again that she ignored red flags in their marriage. The next day, all hell broke loose. Tom had apparently gone to Eric's apartment and things got physical. Eric ended up with a broken nose and Tom was arrested for assault. He was released on bail, but now has charges pending. Melissa showed up at our house in hysterics. She was furious that I had told Karen and Tom. She screamed at me, saying I had no right to blow up her family like that. I told her she was the one who blew up our family when she decided to sleep with her stepbrother. In the midst of her anger, Melissa revealed some things about her affair with Eric that made me even more certain our marriage was over. Apparently, they had been sleeping together since the family vacation last summer, the one where Melissa and I had that big fight about having kids. I had wanted to start trying right away, but Melissa said she wasn't ready. Now I know why. She also admitted that she and Eric had talked about running away together. They had this whole fantasy life planned out, moving to California, starting over where no one knew they were step-siblings. The only thing holding them back was fear of hurting their parents. I asked Melissa point blank if she wanted to try to save our marriage. She hesitated, then admitted she had real feelings for Eric and wasn't sure what she wanted. That was all I needed to hear. I told her I wanted a divorce and she needed to move out permanently. The past few weeks have been a whirlwind of lawyer consultations, dividing assets, and finding Melissa a new place to live. We're moving forward with a divorce. Thankfully, we don't have kids, so that simplifies things a bit. Karen filed for divorce from Tom as well. She said even if she could forgive him for Eric's actions, she couldn't handle the violent outburst. Plus, she felt like she rushed into the marriage and it never felt quite right. Eric moved out of state, presumably to get away from the whole mess he created. Last I heard, he and Melissa were still in contact but not actually together. I guess the allure wore off once it wasn't a forbidden affair anymore. I'm still struggling to come to terms with everything, but I know ending the marriage was the right call. Melissa's betrayal runs too deep to ever fully trust her again. I keep thinking about all the lies and deception. How many times did she tell me she was working late when she was really with Eric? How many family dinners did we sit through while they were secretly sleeping together? I'm focusing on healing and figuring out who I am outside of my relationship with Melissa. It's strange. We've been together since college. I've never really been an adult without her. I'm rediscovering old hobbies and interests that I had let fall by the wayside during our marriage. Karen and I have actually grown closer through all this. We're supporting each other as we both go through divorces. It's nice to have someone who truly understands what I'm going through. We've been getting coffee regularly and talking through everything. I'll post another update once the divorce is finalized. Thanks again for all the support during this nightmare. Update 2. It's been about 6 months since my last update. The divorce from Melissa was finalized last month. It was a long, draining process, but I'm glad it's over. We ended up selling the house and splitting the proceeds. Melissa moved to an apartment across town, and I'm renting a small house for now. In a twist I didn't see coming, Karen and I have grown much closer over the past few months. At first, it was just supporting each other through our respective divorces. We'd get coffee and vent about lawyer meetings or mediation sessions. But gradually, it evolved into something more. I was hesitant at first. Karen is 15 years older than me and was my mother-in-law for 7 years. But we have so much in common, and she truly understands what I've been through in a way no one else can. We started dating about 2 months ago. It's strange to think about how our relationship has evolved over the years. I remember being so nervous the first time I met Karen, back when Melissa and I had only been dating for a few months. She was intimidating, successful, sharp-witted, and fiercely protective of Melissa. But she welcomed me into their family with open arms. Over the years, Karen became like a second mother to me. She was always there with advice or support when I needed it. I remember when I was thinking about quitting my job to start my own business, Karen was the one who encouraged me to take the leap. She even loaned me some startup money when things were tight in the beginning. I never in a million years thought our relationship would turn romantic. But after everything we've been through, it just feels right. We connect on a level I never did with Melissa. Karen challenges me intellectually and supports me emotionally in a way I've never experienced before. I was nervous about how people would react, especially given everything that's happened. But surprisingly, most of our friends and family have been supportive. They see how happy we make each other, and that's what matters most to them. Melissa found out about Karen and I last week. She showed up at my house unannounced, saying she wanted to talk about getting back together. When Karen answered the door, Melissa lost it. She started screaming about how disgusting and twisted it was. I pointed out the hypocrisy of her sleeping with her stepbrother while judging me for dating her mom. The confrontation with Melissa brought up a lot of unresolved feelings. Part of me felt guilty, like I was betraying her all over again. But then I reminded myself of all the pain she caused, all the lies and deception. Karen and I didn't do anything wrong. We found comfort in each other after Melissa blew up both our lives. I feel a bit guilty about how things have turned out, but I truly care for Karen. She's kind, funny, and we connect on a deep level. For the first time in a long time, I'm excited about the future. Eric is still out of state, as far as I know. I heard through the grapevine that he and Melissa tried to make a go of an actual relationship, but it fizzled out quickly once the illicit thrill was gone. Last I heard, Melissa was on some dating apps trying to meet new people. Tom's assault case is still pending. He's facing potential jail time. Karen feels bad for him in some ways, but says the marriage was a mistake from the start. She's much happier now. I know this update might be controversial to some, but Karen and I are taking things slow and seeing where it goes. After everything we've been through, we both deserve some happiness. Update 3. It's been almost a year since this whole saga began, and I finally feel like my life is back on track. Karen and I are still going strong. We moved in together a couple months ago and things are great. Our age difference honestly hasn't been an issue at all. We're on the same page about what we want in life, and she keeps me young. Living with Karen has been an adjustment, but a good one. It's so different from living with Melissa. Karen and I have similar habits and routines, which makes day-to-day life easier. We both like to wake up early and go for a run before work. In the evenings, we often cook dinner together and then read or watch documentaries. It's a calmer, more mature relationship than what I had with Melissa. Melissa has mostly faded out of my life, which is for the best. She reached out a few times trying to reconcile, but I shut that down quickly. Last I heard, she's dating some guy she met at work. I hope she's gotten help and worked on herself, but that's not my problem anymore. I ran into Melissa's dad at the grocery store last week. It was awkward at first. I hadn't seen him since before the divorce, but we ended up talking for a while. He apologized for how things ended with Melissa and said he was happy I had found happiness with Karen. It was a surprisingly healing conversation. Eric is apparently engaged to a woman he met in his new city. I guess the whole step-sibling affair thing was just a phase for him. I still can't wrap my head around how he could do that to his family, but again, not my circus, not my monkeys. Tom ended up taking a plea deal on the assault charges. He got probation and anger management classes. He and Karen are on speaking terms now, mainly to deal with finalizing some financial aspects of their divorce. There's no chance of reconciliation there. Karen and I are talking about getting married next year. I never thought I'd be excited about marriage again after what happened with Melissa, but Karen has shown me what a true partnership should be like. We're planning a small ceremony, just close friends and family. I still have moments where the pain of Melissa's betrayal hits me. The other day, I found an old photo album from our college days, and it brought up a lot of emotions. But overall, I'm in a much better place now than I was a year ago. Karen and I are building a life together that feels more authentic and fulfilling than anything I had before. We're talking about starting a business together, a small bookstore, her cafe. It's something we've both always dreamed of doing. Karen's business acumen combined with my experience in hospitality could make for a great partnership. It's exciting to be planning for the future again.